The World Food Programme says 25 of its trucks carrying vital food assistance crossed into northern Gaza on Sunday morning, encountering large crowds of civilians anxiously waiting to access food supplies. According to their statement, the surrounding crowd came under fire from Israeli artillery, resulting in the loss of countless lives.
Over the weekend in Gaza, we saw yet more mass shootings and killings of people seeking UN aid for their families. An atrocious and inhumane act which I utterly condemn. We need an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, the immediate release of all hostages, and unimpeded humanitarian access as a first step to achieve the two-state solution.
Guterres' spokesperson expanded further on their growing concern for the people of Gaza.
The Secretary General strongly condemns the ongoing violence, including the shooting, the killing, and the injuring of people attempting to get food for their families. Civilians must be protected, civilians must be respected, and they must never, ever be targeted. The population in Gaza remains gravely undersupplied with the basic necessities of life. Israel has the obligation to allow and facilitate by all means at its disposal the humanitarian relief provided by the United Nations and other humanitarian organizations. The Secretary General notes that the intensification of hostilities in recent days comes as the humanitarian system is being impeded, undermined, and endangered.
The UN also warned that the new evacuation order in parts of Deir al-Balah in central Gaza, home to tens of thousands of internally displaced, pushed people into more desperate conditions and further displacement, and restricted the UN's ability to deliver life-saving aid.
Is remaining in Deir al-Balah, and 2 UN guest houses have been impacted, despite the parties having been informed of the location of UN premises, which, as you well know, are inviolable. These locations, as with all civilian sites, must be protected regardless of evacuation orders. The Secretary General reiterates his urgent call for the protection of civilians, including humanitarian personnel, and the provision of essential resources to ensure their survival.
The World Food Programme also warned that a quarter of Gaza's population faced famine-like conditions.
This in Gaza has certainly reached new and astonishing levels of desperation. And we see information we have is a third of the population are not eating for multiple days in a row. This includes women and children. And as I think as through our assessments that have been released publicly, a quarter of the population are facing famine-like conditions. We see severe acute malnutrition surging, so more than almost 100,000 women and children are suffering from severe acute malnutrition and need treatment as soon as possible. And as you noted, Stefan, at the outset, in some of the reports, people are dying from lack of humanitarian assistance every day, and we are seeing this escalate day by day.
This as the foreign ministers of 25 Western countries across the European Union, the UK, Canada and Australia, among others, called for the war in Gaza to end and slammed the Israeli aid delivery model as dangerous, fueling instability and depriving Gazans of human dignity. The statement also condemned the drip feeding of aid and the inhumane killing of civilians, including children, seeking to meet their most basic needs of water and food, arguing further that it was horrifying that over 800 Palestinians had been killed while seeking aid. The foreign ministers, among them from Denmark, New Zealand, Norway and Spain, called the Israeli government's denial of essential humanitarian assistance to the civilian population unacceptable, while condemning the continued detention of hostages by Hamas, calling for their immediate and unconditional release. Israel's foreign ministry has since rejected that joint statement as disconnected from reality, arguing that it failed to focus the pressure on Hamas. Shervin Riceby's SABC News, New York.